this is Carolyn with Carolina Crafting. Thank you for joining me for another tutorial today. As you can see, I'm still working on Valentine's cards, and this card was inspired by a couple of things. Last week I showed you how to use the Cute Bugs suite to make a Valentine's card. So thinking about using stamps that you may not normally use for a particular theme, I went into that idea again today. And also we had a winter storm come through this weekend here in North Carolina. So we had some snow, some sleet, some freezing rain and ice, a little bit of everything. So that's where the snowflake comes from. But I wanted to continue making Valentine's cards, but I wanted to make something different than what I've made. I didn't want to repeat another card I've made. So I started looking again at what all I had, and I saw these, they're called Snowy Delights Decorative Masks. This came out in the holiday catalog just a few months ago, but they're already on as a last chance item, so you could get them for a good price right now if you like them. But I noticed that they have these little heart shapes in them. So I thought, I'm going to use that and make another Valentine card. So that's what I did. The Stampin' Up! Decorative Mask or stencils, they come with a little notch in the top, so you can line them up each time by that notch where you put them. They're also numbered. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you know what order to go in when you're stenciling. So let's get started on this card. So I'm starting out with a piece of basic white cardstock, and it measures 5 by 3 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to come in and just tape mine down because I don't want it moving when I'm stenciling. And I'm going to take my first mask and center it where I want it on my card. I believe that's about the center. And I'm going to just put another piece of tape there. I'm also going to just take a marker, and I'm using my glass mat that I got from Stampin' Up. I don't use it a lot in videos because you can see the lights reflect off of it. It's kind of distracting, but for stenciling, I like using my glass mat because it's so easy just to wipe off and clean up for any like kind of messy projects you might have. But I'm going to come in here and just outline that little notch there, and that'll help me line up my next dies that I'm going to use. Or I'm sorry, not dies, stencils or masks. The first color I'm going to do, and you typically do your lightest to your darkest. This first one is called Bubble Bath, and I'm using sponge daubers to color mine in. You can use the blending brushes. That's what I would use, but I couldn't put my hands on some today, so this is what we got, and it works too. Usually your first mask or stencil is the biggest. It takes the most color, so it's usually the lightest color, so that all your other colors you'll you know see. Like if you started with your darkest and you started putting lighter on there, you wouldn't see them. So you typically start out with your lightest and use it's the most color you put down. Just making sure I'm getting all those little corners there. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Okay, and now I'm going to find mask number 2. And these are fairly easy to line up with just the stencils or the mask. I keep calling them stencils because of the pattern on them. Some of them are not this easy to line up, but these are fairly easy and simple, even if you're not using the notch there. The next color I'm going to use is Flirty Flamingo. And come in with another sponge dauber and just get some color down. Keep seeing little edges here that I haven't got filled in good. Okay, I think that's pretty good. And then the next color we'll use with our next mask is Strawberry Slush. And you already see the dimension we're building here with this. So I'm going to line up number 3. Moved it a little bit. Sorry, always have to get everything just right or it'll drive me nuts. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, and Strawberry Slush will come in with. You'll see as we get darker, there's not as many areas to put color in. So these last two won't take as long. All right. And then we'll come in with the last stencil, number 4, and line it up here. Okay. And we're going to use Real Red for this one, which is the darkest color. This probably would go a little bit quicker and smoother with the blending brush. I just didn't have any today. Okay. And there you go. So pretty. All those layers of color. Now I also want to show you how easy these are to clean. Let me move this out of the way. All you need is a piece of paper towel wet with some water. So I'm going to do that. I don't have a sink in my craft room, so I just keep a spritzer bottle and some paper towels up here. And you see that just wipes right off. Very easy to clean up. If you had a sink, you could just go rinse it off in the sink and it would just wipe right off. I'll wipe my little notch line there too. And you'll see these mats clean up real easy as well. All right, let me bring my project back in. Okay, so next we need to do a little bit of stamping. I am using the Endless Love stamp set to make my card with. So you're going to use just a basic card base out of Flirty Flamingo, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then you're going to need your piece that goes in the inside that you're going to put your verse on. And that piece is 4 by 5 1/4. You're going to need a small little strip of paper for your sentiment on the outside. And this piece is 1/2 inch by 2 1/4 inches. Then I'm using Real Red to mat that on. And that is 5/8 by 2 3/8. And then the last piece of cardstock you'll need is another piece of Real Red. And it's your mat for your snowflake. And it is cut at 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. You're going to take your your lightest color of ink and your darkest color of ink. And on the inside, I'm going to use that light ink and stamp a heart, the bubble bath. Okay. Then I'm going to go with Real Red. I'm going to stamp love right over that heart. Now my tiny strip of paper for the sentiment that goes on the front, it's going to be Sending You. Okay. And that's all the stamping we're going to do. And we're just going to layer all of this together. So I'm going to start putting my inside piece in. And I'll layer my snowflake on the Real Red mat. And this just leaves a little tiny peak of the red on each side sticking out, just to give it a little hint of color around it. And next we'll layer this onto our card base. Just kind of eyeball it in the center. Okay. And now we're going to layer our sentiment on that small piece of Real Red. And again, it'll just give it that little peak of red around the edges. Okay. Then let me get my dimensionals to put the sentiment on the front. I'm just lining it up against the edge of the Real Red cardstock there. I didn't want to cover up too much of my snowflake. On my first card, I went in and I put the loose Valentine's assortment, little pieces, glued the little hearts down. But I almost think I like the clean look without it. So you could do either or if you've got the Endless Love, dies, you could cut some hearts with the dies and put them down, but I think I like the simpler look better, so I think I'm going to stop right now. If you enjoy my tutorials from my YouTube channel, please think about subscribing. I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching.